Welcome back to the Upper Transfer Show, the transfer show we bring you each and every week on the upper tier as part of the Dynamo Podcast Network. Head over to YouTube, smash that subscribe and bell notification button. Audio versions of the show are available on Anchor. And if you'd like to contact the show, we're available on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at the upper tier. Joining me tonight, as always, my partner for the transfer show, new father as well. Congrats, Stan.
Thank you very much. It's certainly taken its toll.
How's the sleeping pattern?
I don't have one.
Excellent. Welcome to my world.
Let me just say this. Thank God for paternity leave, because imagine just being thrown into the deep end with no time off. Oh, God.
This kid, 3 times this kid. Welcome. Try it out when you're self-employed.
Yeah, exactly. It's absolutely amazing. It's just have a whole different outlook on life. Like I'm 35 now. Like you realise at 35, like shit, I actually have to start growing up now.
Yeah. Yeah. And you don't want to put them down, sure you don't. You just want to hold them all the time. You don't want to give them to anyone. You don't want anyone to go near them. Yeah, real protective.
And that's the one thing that you're told, like don't hold them 24/7 because you just get used to the.
Yeah, it gets sore as well. Yeah, obviously, yeah. Good
so like I was holding them. The missus was having a nap, and I was like, "I'll hold them." And I'm panned out on the chair watching the Ukraine and Austria game, and she's like, "Give us a mile, hold them." I sat up to give her, and I was, "No, you're all right," and just lied back down. But it's deadly. It's deadly.
While he's standing on the cup with us, and he's asking you, "You're going to the bar? He'll have a cider." Those years go quick, mate. Those years go quick. Enjoy it while you can.
The length of them now, I'd say I'd be bringing for a few pints of cider in about fucking 5 years. The size of the uncle.
He could be hosting the NBA podcast on the Dynamo Podcast Network with that height, you know.
That's it. I'm throwing all my eggs into one basket with this young fella. I'm gonna be one of those sports star father millionaires. I am.
20 million, is it? Alfie England Haaland.
not putting pressure on him at all.
Now that you've had a kid, the Erling Haaland deal looks all right, does it?
Yeah, walk away. I'll take 25, and you'll take 25 as well. Now, what?
Deadly, awesome. Right, let's get into these transfers anyway. Man United are reporting that they're willing to cough up 75 million for Jadon Sancho. This is the one we talk about at the start of every transfer show anyway. So I still think they're a bit of a ways off. What do you think?
Yeah, it wasn't the last time we talked about weren't they looking for somewhere around 100 million? Was it euro or pounds? But like, if they're willing to just give 75 million, they may start looking at option B, because as much as the player wants to go, I can't imagine he's knocking at the door and saying, "Look, this has to happen." You know, I think he's more than happy if he stays. He does want to go back to England, but I can't imagine he doesn't come across the type of kid now that if this doesn't go through, that he's going to throw all his toys out of the pram. But for Man United to only be willing to pay 75 million when he's been their number one target for the last 2.5 years, you know, it just. Now you're kind of coming to fruition. Like, it makes sense to why the United fans are so pissed off. Well, look, we needed Van Dijk, we didn't settle for less. We needed Alisson, we didn't settle for less. You know, you have to get, if you want to catch Man City and I'd imagine Chelsea next year. I'm not going to mention Liverpool because, well, Liverpool fans, well, people already know our thoughts on Liverpool. But if they want to catch those said 3 teams, they need to be going out and just paying what the club wants, especially with a player of that talent, because it's not like it's a risk. You know what I mean? I think if he comes to England, he's going to be frightening on the wing for Man United, and I think he'll add to the threat of Greenwood and Cavani, or Rashford and Cavani, but it also takes the pressure off Greenwood, who's already in phenomenal form, but it takes the pressure off him where he can kind of, right, I can take a step back, I can work on these other things that I need to improve my game. And then when I do come in, I know I can score goals. I know I can get assists. But it also takes the burden off Rashford, because apparently he's been playing with an injury for about 18 months. So someone like Sancho coming in, if I'm a United fan, I really want this to go through, because if Sancho comes in, that means Rashford gets a break. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's been criticised a lot lately. You know, if it's true that he's playing with an injury and all, it's simple. United won't spend the money. They have to get someone who's at that level to play when Rashford doesn't play or when Greenwood doesn't play. You can't go out and spend 25, 30 million on someone with potential and say, all right, Marcus Rashford is out for a run of 10, 12, 15 games. Here's your chance. United and other teams around that area below Man City haven't got time to take a chance.
And the risk is if you don't sort the Rashford issue when you go into the new season, if he picks up a really bad injury, he's going to be gone for half the season. Which and then you've
already got the talk of what Rashford was saying about, who's to say one day down the line I don't go to Spain, or if I don't go elsewhere. We only talked about this 2 weeks ago. All it's going to take is them to have a bad season, and he turned around and says, right, well, I hung on, so let me go. I want to try pastures now.
Yeah, what you're thinking at the moment? I'm kind of trying to equate it to a deal for Sancho at the moment, but he's getting no minutes and no playing time at the Euros.
Yeah, it's very, very strange. I did say before the Euro started that Phil Foden would be England's standout man, and he's not exactly. Yeah, he'd 1 or 2 chances against Croatia. He hit the post, and then the keeper made a world class save from him, I believe. He didn't really set the world alight against Scotland, He was pretty nullified.
None of them did.
No, none of them having both games. The Croatia and England game was absolutely appalling. I was expecting that to be one of the games of the tournament with the players that were on the pitch, and Croatia don't rarely have games like that where they're very dull, they're very apprehensive about their attacks and all. It's usually just gung ho. But it was strange. Like even Grealish not starting, that England and Scotland. I said it on the Euro review that was going to be England's toughest game, and I was more than right. Because it was the pressure told on the English lads. Everyone was saying, it's young lads, they won't fear pressure. It's a different story when you're playing Scotland. You know what I mean? There's no pressure whatsoever on Scotland. Yeah. Everybody was expecting England to win. I certainly wasn't. I had a feeling that I'd said they'd nick at least a point off them, and they could have went on and won the game. Billy Gilmour, for all the midfield and attacking players England had on the pitch, Billy Gilmour outshone everyone on that pitch.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And unfortunately now to be diagnosed with COVID.
Yeah, but you know why because Billy Gilmour came into that game knowing, he took a step back in the England or the Chelsea setup this season. We heard Tuchel talking about how great he is. He knew going in there that all the pressure was on the England players. He could just play his game, and that's exactly what he did. He was unbelievable.
Yeah. Let's move on. Chelsea reported this week that they've agreed terms with Erling Haaland. But we've read as well that they're also keeping an eye on Alexander Isak, who we also spoke about, the Swedish player, who's doing very, very well in the Euros. As a potential alternative if the Haaland deal doesn't go ahead. Seems to be quite a drop down if you're going for Erling Haaland and you're satisfied with Alexander Isak.
Niall, if I'm a Chelsea fan and we're signing Haaland, or if I'm a Man United fan and we're signing Haaland, or Liverpool or Man City, and you're signing Erling Haaland, you already know my thoughts. I'd love him to be at Liverpool, but I just don't want anything to do with what the fees, and don't want anything to do with it. I think it's absolutely disgusting that nowadays in football, that's the figures that has been thrown around. But I did mention this about Chelsea. You have Timo Werner, right, who just came in last season, big money. You have Olivier Giroud. You know how I love Giroud. He's so underrated. Tammy Abraham is apparently leaving. If Erling Haaland's coming in, for me, Werner is going. I don't see the two of them staying at the same club. They have to get one of them. If Haaland's coming in, for me, Werner has to go. I just cannot see it working. I think it'll cause a lot of unrest. You're not going to turn around to Werner. Haaland plays through the middle. That's his strength. You know what I mean? He just brushes people off like they're non-existent. Whereas Werner, Chelsea have too many midfield options to play two up front as well, because then you're going to have unrest in that area of the pitch. So I just don't see it happen. So with the Isak deal, if that's what are they looking at, around 50 million for him, 60 million?
I'd say being around that. I suppose each week it's going up because he's playing so well for Sweden,
So if it's 50 or 60 million, it seems like a lot of money. But nowadays in the Premier League, that's what you're paying for someone to sit on the bench and add to the team if he's coming in. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So if I'm a Chelsea fan, I want Haaland coming in, but I don't want Haaland coming in if it's going to cause major unrest.
Yeah.
Werner's already been there for the year and settling in, do you know what I mean? And I believe he probably will add those goals next year. But look, at the end of the day, it's them and it's their money. But yeah,
One. Yeah, just on the thing you said there about Timo Werner and stuff like that, it's coming out this week now that Carlo Ancelotti, with the move to Real Madrid, is looking at Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and he's also looking at Timo Werner at Chelsea.
well, there you go. There's your money for Haaland.
So
because they have to buy out. They have to buy out a 5-year deal.
Yeah.
So they're going to be looking for at least 90 million for him.
Yeah.
Realistically, and if they really want Haaland, you know,
it's an interesting one though, isn't it? When you think, like, I can't imagine Calvert-Lewin like in a Real Madrid jersey.
Just all the talk at the start of the season was that Calvert-Lewin was going to blow up on the scene and he was going to be top scorer in the Premier League, and just fizzled out. So to go from having a relatively good start to the season, Everton, to a mediocre season overall, in my opinion, didn't really set anything alight. Given a few chances with England, hasn't really done anything. But yeah, Calvert-Lewin, Timo Werner, and Karim Benzema up front for Real Madrid.
It's a weird one, isn't it? I also can't imagine Everton wanted to be entertaining Carlo Ancelotti with the way he left either.
No, not at all.
Unless the money is stupid, of course.
I'd love this to actually come more into fruition. Do you know what I mean? I'd love this to kind of be a big talking point, and Calvert-Lewin asked about it in an England presser or something, and see what he has to say on it, because the unrest about the manager's job at Everton, and my opinion, the disrespect that they're showing Rafa Benitez, Champions League winning manager, broke the stronghold of Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Spain with Valencia.
Everton should be privileged to be getting Rafa Benitez.
I've seen the banners outside Goodison the other day, and I was like, your hatred for Liverpool. How long has he been away from Liverpool Football Club? What that man, what he done for the city of Liverpool as well, he should be revered. You know what I mean? So look, at the end of the day, I can't imagine he's going to lose too much sleep about. But a club like Everton, who have won nothing since 1995, they should be over the moon about something like this. You know what I mean? Absolutely. All the talk of Rafa's going in to secretly destroy the club, we all know that's only banter. But I'd say there's actually Everton fans who do believe that he'd come into the club just to destroy it. I'm like, it just shows you the mentality of Everton.
Especially at the time as well, when the option of Spurs is there. You know what I mean? I'm surprised Rafa hasn't gone into Spurs. I'm really, really surprised at
that. Imagine Rafa standing in the manager's box and Duncan Ferguson behind him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rafa's just like, you do the talking. Do the talking.
Absolutely. Tottenham chairman Daniel Levy talking about there will be no way that a move for Harry Kane to Man City will be sanctioned. And then we hear today that Man City have turned around, 110 million on the table, one offer, take it or leave it, no messing about. There you go. I would be absolutely taking their hand off for that 110 million.
Big time. And especially if the talk of players could be involved in the deal as well. We already know that they're looking at getting Mahrez and Sterling out. So how about turning around saying, I tell you what, we'll take Mahrez and Sterling and you can give us 40 million. If you want them, you have the money. That's who I want.
And the difference those two players would make to that Spurs team.
100%. 100%. Raheem Sterling, I believe he'd jump at the opportunity. We heard snippets that Liverpool could be interested in re-signing them, but I don't see that coming into fruition. Mahrez, why do you want to leave England? You know what I mean? And they're probably, if they're the two names that were involved in it, and there's talk of Jesus as well. Come here, would you rather 120 to 150 million, or would you rather Jesus, Mahrez, and Sterling?
Yeah, make a huge difference to the team in terms of their chances.
You have three players like Mahrez, one of the best players in the league. Sterling, on his day, we know how good he can be. And Jesus, last season he didn't really do much, but over previous seasons when he played instead of Aguero, he done the business. So you have 3 players that are adapted in England as well. You're losing your main goal threat, and then if you bring in the goals of those 3 players, it's a straight up replacement. I would gladly take those 3 instead of the money.
It takes Spurs back into a top 4 conversation, wouldn't it? Really, you think about it.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. It means then they don't have to spend money in replacing Harry Kane, and then whatever money they have, they can strengthen areas that they need strengthening.
Yeah, absolutely. Manchester United reporting this week that they're willing to send Brandon Williams to be sent out on, Brandon Williams going out on loan. I think this was a given, really. I spoke to Mark a few times on the podcast about it as well. He's a kid out there, like he's a decent player, he's solid enough and stuff like that, but he needs game time. He needs experience and he needs game time.
Do you know what I'll say about Brandon Williams? He's too invested and over emotional when he plays for Man United. He is a good young player, but he's going in and he's trying to upend players. Now I'm all about the old school approach, but you know, if he comes into a City game or a Chelsea game or a Liverpool game and he takes someone's kneecap off and he's banned for 6 or 7 months, he needs to go play under look. Everyone knows my feelings on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. If he was to go to say Crystal Palace, or play under a manager that has, like, I'd imagine the managers that are coming in, like the managers that are in the league at the moment already, say Sean Dyche, they're setting their ways that you know that they have a big presence in the dressing room and all. Where I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has that.
Yeah, like Leeds, under Bielsa at Leeds maybe, or something like that.
He needs to go in where someone is the boss, okay? And if he thinks that you're doing something wrong, he's going to pull you aside and say, look, you're a bit overzealous. You need to take a step back. He reminds me a lot. I know this is big praise. He reminds me a lot of Gary Neville. He gets up and back. He's not afraid to tackle. He doesn't give a fuck about the big games and the big names. He goes out to do a job. But I just think he's a tad bit, like, say, just a tad bit over the top, where he needs to just take a step back and just learn to approach the games a bit different. And I just think playing under any of the managers outside, say, the top 6 in the Premier League, well, probably the top 8 of Spurs and Arsenal are shit as well, he could learn a tad more about it.
Yeah, he reminds me a lot of when Scott McTominay came into the first team in the beginning. He was kind of fired up, but there was a lack of kind of maturity to his game or something like that. He was still a very good footballer, but a lack of maturity to his game that he has built up now over the last season or so. Raphael Varane, we spoke about him last week. We thought there was one leg inside the PSG gate at this stage that it was done. But apparently his agents come out this week saying that he favours a move to the Premier League, which I'm sure has put United and Chelsea both on high alert. Let's get this deal done.
Yeah, I thought when the Ramos thing coming out, that he wasn't staying around Madrid, I thought that would mean that Varane is going to stay and they're going to try and build a team out around him at the back. I think losing Varane and Ramos is that just major problems for Real Madrid going forward. Well, both of those are going to end up in the Premier League. I think there's talk of Ramos probably going to PSG, but I don't know. I think he could end up at Chelsea. I think Varane could end up at United, or vice versa. But if I was putting my money on it, I think Ramos is going to go to Chelsea. I just think it'd suit him better. Him and Thiago Silva there, the experienced heads, serial winners, have won everything in the game. I just see that happening. And what a massive boost. The only thing is the age, though. Do you want to be paying mad money for someone who's probably got a year or two and looking for a last payday? But Varane, I think United need him massively. There's talk here, man. What's his name? Romero, is it?
Yeah.
There's talk of him, and I'm like, no. I don't think he'll cut it in the Premier League. I just don't see anything in him that going into United he's going to make things better. I think he'll be just the kind of a rich man's Lindelof or a rich man's Bailey. It's just not for me. If I'm a United fan, you want Varane, and that's it. Varane and Sancho, and we're looking forward.
Well, the next one might change our mind on that, because apparently United are scheduling talks with Leicester to have a discussion about Soyuncu, which is an interesting development, really. But I mean, I'm looking at Leicester there, who have developed really well into a top 4, top 6 team, fairly competitive and stuff like that. Surely to God, they can't be getting rid of players like this constantly every season and expect to remain at that level of competitiveness, no?
There's apparently the Patson Daka deal to Leicester is complete. That's just waiting to be the full stops on that, and it's done. But if you're losing,
unbelievable signing as well.
Fucking right, it's an unbelievable signing. It takes the burden off Jamie Vardy, because I know Ian Acho came into his own at the end of the season, but like to have that, like at Liverpool, we brought in Jota. You know, you bring in someone like Patson Daka, who's kind of gone under the radar at Salzburg because of how good Haaland was. Patson Daka's just stepped straight in and just done the exact same thing. I was convinced he was going to sign for Liverpool. You know, West Ham threw their hat in at the last minute and all, and we were talking about it on our last show and saying, nah, it's probably a done deal to Liverpool, and then out of the blue, Leicester signing. But if you're signing him and then you're letting Soyuncu go, like what? Surely Rodgers isn't that stupid. Surely.
I don't see him letting him go. I'd be very unless the offer is mammoth. I can't see
him. Him and Fofana are going to be exceptional together, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Barcelona doing a lot of shrewd business on the very quiet there, where you're looking now at a front line this season. Memphis Depay just secured his move there, so you're looking at a Memphis Depay, Messi, and Aguero next season.
Down at the social welfare, we're giving out free boots, saying, "Here, can you play football?" Yep, right, let's go off to Barcelona with you. And two outstanding signings, if you ask me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Aguero will be on fire in Spain, and Depay has been outstanding. 2 goals, 2 assists, a goal and 2 assists today. We believe. Two massive signings. I think that the sour taste is certainly being washed out after what happened with Wijnaldum at Barcelona.
Yeah, absolutely. Only thing is, where does it leave Griezmann? Is Griezmann going to have to find a new home?
I think that they're going to try and get it. They need to. If I'm getting rid of one of the two, I'm getting rid of Dembele. He has done nothing for me, in my opinion. I think Griezmann still offers more of a threat. It depends on Laporte. If he's going to try and get wages off the books, he may get rid of the two. But like I talked about this there last week, the La Masia at Barcelona, they need to get back into like the players that came through. You look at the players that came through in the past, and they just don't have that anymore. And you're looking through the squad, and you're like, right, well, they have Messi on the pitch, they have the Griezmann on the pitch. Now they'll have Aguero, they'll have the Depay. But like you look at the other areas, like they're getting old. Busquets, stuff like that. You know what I mean? PK, they're getting old. It's going to come to a time where they are going to have to, if they don't have the money to replace them, that they're going to be in massive trouble.
Yeah, maybe that's their thinking for the following transfer windows, that if they bring in the likes of Memphis or bring in the likes of Aguero, which would be relatively, they wouldn't be overly expensive deals, that maybe they're withdrawing that cash and holding it in terms of, you know, a replacement for Busquets or PK. So it'll be interesting to see, though, but certainly it's an interesting front line without a shadow of a doubt.
Definitely.
What's this about Man City and Grealish? They're talking about smashing the transfer record in the Premier League to sign Jack Grealish, that they want him, and they're talking about going above the Pogba fee, which is absolutely mental.
Good questions are certainly going to be asked if they go out and spend the money on Harry Kane and Grealish. You know, you're talking over 250 million for the two of them.
There wouldn't be much change out of 200 million anyway, pounds.
Yeah. We are talking of Guardiola coming out towards the end of the season saying, look, we can't go out and do what we done and spend so much money to better the team. Like, the eye is on everyone now. And I don't know, your man, I can't pronounce, what's your man's name? The chairman at Man City, Texera, your man that was at Barcelona. He came out and he said, we're not going to spend a lot of money. We're just going to, when we do spend money, people are going to like sit up and they'll know we mean business. Like certainly going out today and Harry Kane, 110, 116 million euros, and then talk now with Jack Grealish going in as well. Now it makes sense as to, you heard that Jesus could be offered up in the Harry Kane deal, and Mahrez and Sterling. For me, Mahrez is outstanding. When I heard his name was part on the list as players to get off the wage bill, I was just saying to myself, that's the wrong move. I think he's outstanding, and whoever he goes to, probably Spurs, maybe. You know, they're only going to get better. But yeah, just I thought Grealish would have probably stayed at Villa for another year, maybe.
I don't know. I think if a deal like that comes in, you kind of have to take it, don't you? Those deals aren't going to come all the time. You know what I mean? So, I just think, and I think Villa will be interested in it as well because Grealish will be another year around on his contract.
Another Fabian Delph, I don't want to go. And then coming out an hour later and saying, I made a mistake, I do want to go.
Here's the jersey and the scarf, yeah. Arsenal prioritising a defender, midfielder, and a number 10. And they're talking about, and probably a number 5 and a number 4, a 3, and a 1 and a 2.
And a 1, yeah.
But at the moment, they're looking at Ben White, Lokonga, and they're also looking at our friend, Nabil Fekir, as a replacement for Buendia. But they missed out on.
Fucking Nabil Fekir, I don't even want to hear that name anymore. His brothers are still giving a big about bleeding. Liverpool tried to do them over and all. Look, we know what happened there. Is just moochers, just greedy moochers. You know, they ruined that guy's career there. You know, how happy was he to sign for Liverpool? We seen the pictures of him in the kit and all, and they just messed it up for him. Yeah, I think they need more than Nabil Fekir. And what's that guy's name, the centre half? I think Arsenal needs, you know, just to be born to the ground and lay the foundations again. They ain't going anywhere fast.
Yeah, I don't know. I look at Arsenal and think, you know, I'd nearly be thinking you should start with a manager.
100%. I've said it about 10 times. Yeah. They brought in Mikel Arteta and thought this is going to be the master stroke of the century. He's going to come in and within a year we'll be Pep Guardiola's Barcelona.
Yeah. This was the man who was the secret to Pep's success.
The only thing he does good is dye his hair. He's a bad manager.
Yeah, no, they're going to it's going to be interesting, but they need to make a few signings, and I just don't know whether Arsenal are capable of doing that in a single window. They haven't been in the past, so
I'm surprised Arsenal aren't looking at getting Conte, if you ask me.
I don't think they pony up the bread.
Again, Stan Kroenke, you know, he just like if Arsenal gets success, it's a bonus for him. He'll gladly take in the revenue now when those fans start coming back, because Arsenal fans, they're quite gullible. They'll sell out every week, those home games.
Well, you can tell the owner's approach anyway, because I mean, if you're finishing 8th and you're happy with that and you're leaving your manager in place, well then that says it all, doesn't it, really? For a club the size of Arsenal.
Yep.
You know. Anyway, this has been your weekly transfer show on the Upper Tier on the Dynamo Podcast Network. Head over to YouTube, smash subscribe, share these episodes. It's been a pleasure as always. Then back on again, looking at the week's transfer gossip, news, opinion, all that kind of good stuff. Audio versions of the show are on Anchor. If you want to contact us, let us know your opinions right below there in the comments, or you can hit us up on Twitter at _upper_tier. You'll get us on Facebook, you'll get us on Instagram, wherever you want to find us. Let us know what you're thinking and what the news is like out there in the world of transfers. Till next time, Dean.
Adios, amigo.